In Chafhei Sif Vav, the Mechaber says, "In Paga b'shel Rosh Tchila, tzarich lahaver al oisa hamitzvah v'yinir shel Yad Tchila v'achar shel Rosh." Although by a tefillin and talis we said, according to the Mechaber, again that result maybe is chaylik, but according to the Mechaber, if you touch the tefillin first, you have to put tefillin on before the talis, because although normally it's talis and tefillin, but if you touch it first, eim avir al mitzvahs. But it says in the Mechaber that's only true with talis and tefillin. If you touch the shel Rosh first. Sometimes when people, you should be consistent so that you know. And by the way, it should be that when you open the zipper, it should be that on the right side when the zipper opens, that's the shel yad, because you want it to go straight to the shel yad. But let's say you flip it around, whatever, and you touch the shel rosh first, you still put it down and put the shel yad on. Meaning the obligation of putting shel yad before shel rosh overrides ein mavir al mitzvahs. The Mishnah Berurah explains. He says like this in Vav, Dafka Poga Aval Meniach Shal Rosh Tchila. Obviously, listen, if you put the Shal Rosh on first, okay, you've had a bad day. Then you take it off. Then you don't take it off because then the Imamish already have it on. But he says Lahavir Kivan Dechsiv Bekra Mefurish Diyad Koidim Demetchilo Kshartim V'Hadul Teitafais Emashkichan Lavers. The Torah describes the order. It says Ukshartem Liyasayadecha, and then it says Uteitafais. So it's got to be Shal Yad before Shal Rosh. That's the Kul Yama. The Mechaber says in Zion. Yevarich lehaniach b'komat tachas v'loy b'patach. You say lehaniach and not lihaniach. And you'll say, well, what's the difference? It's a major difference. Lehaniach means to place. Lehaniach means to leave. Lehaniach means la'azov. So that little a or a has a completely different meaning. The Mechaber says in Ches, Kol hamitzvos mevarach aleim over l'asiyasam. The rule is you always have to make a bracha over l'asiyasa, which means you make the bracha and then you do the mitzvah, right before doing the mitzvah. So over here also with the tefillin, you have to make the bracha right before doing the mitzvah. Now what's the mitzvah? Ukshartem, the kshira. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the shel yad on the right spot, don't tighten it, make the bracha and then tighten it. The Shulchan Aruch explains koidim. Oiver l'asiyasin is koidim. Now the Ramah, it's interesting. The Ramah doesn't generally do this. The Ramah says, how do I know that oiver l'asiyasin means before? He quotes the pasuk from the Gemara. V'yavar es akushi pirusha rotz v'hiktim l'fona. V'yavar is to go before. Okay. Lefikach. Therefore, if you have to do the bracha right before the action, tzarich levarich ala tefila shel yad achar hanach al kibaris. So after you put it on the muscle. Now, by the way, why can't I make the bracha when it's in my hand? That's oiver l'asiyasin. The answer is. That's too over l'asiyasin. It's got to be before the action, but not too far before the action. The two exceptions, by the way, the only two exceptions of when we make the bracha, three. The three exceptions of when we make the bracha after the action is by netilas yadayim, because your hands are dirty. That's why you don't make the bracha and then you wash your hands. You wash your hands and then you make the bracha. Hadlakas neiris for Ashkenazim, not for Sfardim. We light and then make the bracha for reasons for Shabbos. And gerim, when gerim go to the mikveh, they can't make the bracha before because they're not Jewish. So they go into the mikveh, then they make the bracha. Okay, those are the three exceptions. So it says the Mechaber, so you have to put it on the bicep, koidim kshirasan, before you tie it, shekshirasan zuziyasan, because the mitzvah is the kshira. So you put it on the bicep, make the bracha, and then tighten it. V'chein b'shal roish, koidim shematik b'rosha. And the shal roish also, you rest it on the shal roish, and then you bracha, and then you tighten it. Again, not too early, but not too late. I've noticed with people with shal roish, for some reason, tefillin, I don't know why. Everyone's it's very chaotic if you watch the way people put on tefillin. A lot of it's like the shel yads are over here and the shel rosh is in the wrong spot. But also, when people put it on, they just tighten it, then they make the bracha. It's too late. You got to rest it, and then the bracha, and then tighten it. The Mishnah Berurah speaks out in Chafei, to koidim l'chein l'chachila in roi levarich. Meaning to make the bracha before it's on the bicep, it's not l'chachila, to have a koidim to koidim. Technically, if you did it, it would work, but it's too early. You want to do it right before the mitzvah, but not after the mitzvah, but not too early. That perfect situation. Says the Mishnah Berurah Yomi, the mitzvah. Let's say you forgot to make the bracha and you already tightened it. You could still make the bracha, because any time you have a mitzvah that is keep going every second you make the mitzvah, every second you make the mitzvah, you can make the bracha afterwards. It's not like a mitzvah where it's a one-time deal. Every second you're wearing tefillin, you make the mitzvah. So technically, b'diavad, you can do it afterwards. Says the Mishnah Berurah Kodim shenedak, ki ehidaku mitzvah kshira. Tightening is the mitzvah kshira. B'tzarach gamkin lizarshi abrach achar shumerachim al sharosh, loika oiser shumerachim ba'odim b'yadam. Not like the people, he says, the people sometimes they'll hold it in their hands, they'll make the bracha when it's in their hands. It's got to be on the shel rosh, not too early. And also, another thing to be very careful, people take their yarmulke off when they put the tefillin on. You have to make sure the yarmulke is on your head when you make a bracha. You're not allowed to make a bracha without a covering of the head. It's an isser. So obviously something to be aware of. Now the Mechaber says asur lahafsik. Now next week we will deal with what is allowed to be said, if anything is allowed to be said between putting on the Shal Yad and Shal Rosh. Pashtus, nothing. It's interesting. There's a sheet of the Balatani. I have the Chabad Siddur. I have to check where this is from. Obviously, I believe it because it's printed in the Siddur. They actually say that between the Shal Yad and Shal Rosh, you could make certain hefsekim and then you just have to make another bracha. I've never seen this before. Pashtus, you're not allowed to say anything between the Shal Yad and Shal Rosh, which we'll deal with next time. But says the Mechaber, also lahafsik b'dibur b'm tefil Shal Yad Shal Rosh. You're not allowed to speak at all between the Shal Yad and Shal Rosh, because the bracha of the Shal Yad goes on the Shal Rosh as well. And by the way, even if you make two brachas, it still goes on both. Meaning, let's say Ashkenaz makes two brachas. So if you make one bracha, like the Sfardim and the Gra, then it's mamish one brachas on both, so you for sure can't talk. But even if you make two brachas, the lumdis is the first bracha is on both, and then the second bracha is on the completion of the mitzvah. But the first bracha is definitely on both, so you can't talk. Says the Mechaber, v'im hifsik, and this is something people do not know. Let's say you did talk. So then, mivarech al shoroish al mitzvahs tefillin, then for the Sfardim, who normally make one bracha, if you speak, you now make the second bracha on the Shal Rosh. What Ashkenazim do normally, now the Sfardim do. And then says the Ramah, Uladidan denoyagim levarach shtei brachas. But we make two brachas normally, so if you speak now what? The answer is you recite both brachas on the Shal Rosh. Says the Ramah, Afim lehivsik tzarech lachzor levarach al Shal Rosh lahaniach gam al mitzvahs. So this is something people don't know, that for Ashkenazim, for make two brachas, if you speak between the Shal Yad and Shal Rosh, again, the type of speech that's also, we'll talk next time about, but sometimes people talk accidentally, whatever, you say something like, excuse me, whatever it is, you would then have to make two brachas on the Shal Rosh. Two brachas on the Shal Rosh. So the Mishnah Berurah says like this, Asa lahafsik, afilu b'dibur shal mitzvah, even if it's for a mitzvah, Rabbi, your Rabbi says, Shalom Aleichem, you're not allowed to respond. It's considered an Isser, because again, it's causing you to make another bracha, which is a bracha she'nitzricha. And he says, "Va'afilu oisen menichin tefillin b'chol hamoyed, or menichin tefillin d'Rabbeinu Tam, achar shecholatz tefillin d'Rashi, ein tzarich lachs levarkim v'niachachach, afilu hachi aver l'siach b'neihen, d'lchachila b'inu she'smuchim b'tfukin zeh. Interesting halacha. It's actually negated to the seder. Even if you're putting on tefillin on Chol Hamoed, there's no brachas on tefillin Chol Hamoed, or Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. We don't make a bracha on Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. You're still not allowed to talk. The Isser of Hefsik is not just because it's Goyim a bracha. Even if there is no bracha, you're not allowed to talk, because it's considered a Hefsik in the middle of the mitzvah. It's Negaya at the Seder, because by Urchatz, we don't make a bracha on the Tils Daim by Urchatz, so a lot of times you'll see people talk. The Isser of talking after Natil Sedayim, before you eat bread, is not just because of the bracha on Natil Sedayim. It's also going to be causing you to be mafsik and masiach das from the Natila to what you're eating, and you'll touch other things. So the Poskim say, Rosh Hashanah was very stark, that when Urchatz, you're not allowed to talk anyway, even if you're not making a bracha. Everyone just wash it, they just start schmoozing. It's also to talk as well. It's maybe not as severe, but it's also to talk as well. B'dibor, v'afil b'loshen hakodesh, and even to be mafsik b'shtika, you should not delay. Again, you'll see a lot of times with kids, they'll put on their Shal Yad and they'll just sit there and space out, and then 30 seconds later, no. Speed, right away. Shal Yad to Shal Rosh. You don't be mafsik b'shtika. Even b'shtika, im shaya harbe, shaloi l'tzarech. That's a problem as well. And afilu ramez be'enav. And even to gesture like this, all these things, it should not be done between the Shal Yad and Shal Rosh. Now, he says, Uldidan denoyagim, says the Mishnah Berurah in Lamed Aleph, ki atam shen mavarch m'shei brachas, okay fine, I'm sorry, lach levarach, Lamed Beis. V'nochan she yemashmish oz b'shal yad lahazizu v'mkoymai, v'yichazik ha-kesher, ubezet tachzer birchas lahaniach gam b'shal yad, v'day mekil haniach ata shal yad b'shal resh kufim zeh b'zeh. V'mbirch b'loy mishmish, yemashish achar bracha. So he says over here, let's say you're making two brachas. So you're making Shal Rosh bracha again for sure, because you messed that up. But the Shal Yad is also funny, because he says what you do is, you move the Shal Yad around. So then it's like I just put on the Shal Yad, make a bracha on that, and then you make both brachas. But kids, so you're making both brachas, but it's good to move the Shal Yad around before making the bracha Shal Yad.